Hey everybody. Let me just let people know that I'm live. Then I'm gonna go run and use the bathroom real quick and we'll get started. Where is this? Oh, here it is, promote. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, I'm back. All right. Let's get everything set up and get down to business. Ah, that's what I meant to do. Okay. Alrighty. And boop. Yeah, sorry. I meant to do an edit of my model because since it's a 3D model, it's really easy to get a new outfit put on. And I meant to do it with the standard tuxedo from Vroid Studio, but I forgot and I got overwhelmed and I didn't realize that it was my anniversary, my stream and my content creator anniversary until like yesterday. And I've just been like, I have been asleep or exhausted. I ended up staying up super late doing. I think I figured out it was the stream anniversary like last night, like early this morning when I checked my calendar. It was really funny. We're gonna chit chat for a little bit, then we'll get into talking about my story. Now, if I was a more functional person, I would have put together a PowerPoint presentation or of some kind, but I am not. I am not a functional. I am not a functional individual, so I did not prepare a PowerPoint presentation. I did advertise it to other people. I even advertised it on my personal Facebook, being like, "Hey, anybody wants to show up?" So I don't know if anybody's gonna come from that. But I just felt like it was kind of an important moment, so I would advertise it to anyone who wanted to come. And show up. I have to explain the things on my the things on my screen, I guess. So how was everybody else's weekend? What did everybody else get up to this weekend? I'm sure Silva and Nabiru will be along whenever they get free. Unless they're already busy with Hattie's stream, I don't know. I wonder if Hattie's even streaming. That's the thing when you have friends who are other streamers, and it's like when most of my community are like mutual friends with other streamers, it's like they gotta pick what stream they're gonna be really paying attention to or involved in. And you know, you can't be that person to be like, well, you should pick me, obviously, because like everybody should have a chance to enjoy the streams that they want to enjoy, you know what I mean? Let me find. So my story, we'll get into it. Like we're gonna chit chat for a little bit, then we'll get into my story. A little bit later, like around 9 o'clock, we'll get into my story. Why is that a JPEG? Whatever. It's funny, as I'm talking, I'm like looking up images. I'm looking up images to try putting together a quick, not quite a PowerPoint presentation, but an explanation of or representation of the different stages of my career as Oriansenshi. I could have a whole stream where I'm just putting together a PowerPoint presentation. That'd be funny. So there was Galio. I did that for a while. Then there was... I've had an interesting like career journey, I guess. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, it's been a really wild ride as a streamer. But here, I'll just get oop. I'm trying to think what else I did, because I did Minecraft for a while. That was my content for a while. I did League, I did Minecraft. I was all about the Minecraft. That defined me for a while. I'll talk about that when I get there. I'm just looking up logos and images and stuff to use for stream, which I should have done before stream, but I'm an absolute mess. It's funny, I was prepping, I was running a session yesterday, a Lancer session, and like one of my players was like, I'm late because of the mess I am, and I was just like, we love you, mess and all, because honestly, I got no point to point at anyone for being a mess, because I am an absolute dumpster fire. Like, if I didn't think that it would crash OBS, right now I would be in OBS, not in OBS, I would be in VRoid Studio making a new model real quick. But I know it would crash it. It would absolutely crash it, and I'm not dealing with that right now. I don't have the computer power to be running all of that stuff at once. I guess I'll poke Silva, see if Silva's coming or if Silva's just really tired. Silva's getting wrecked by work. Alright, no, that's not what I wanted. Let's poke the Silva. Poke the Silva. Poke, 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 poke. I'm sure Nabiru will show up at some point. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey. It's weird. Like 5 years crept up on me, and I was now that's not saying that I've only been doing content creation for 5 years. No. My poor life choices stretch far before that. And I have made a great deal of poor life choices. And yeah, I've done a lot of stuff. And it's weird how, like, through it all, in some way, shape, or form, for years now, content creation, and like it started so innocuously, right? But I'll get into that. I'll get into that more later. But Anywho, so yeah, I had fun with my Lancer session, and it was really funny because the Lancer session yesterday was this interesting combination of a lot of stuff happening and nothing happening at the same time. Because one of the players couldn't make it for the session, and we have one of the players who, like, 1 or 2 weeks a month can't make it to the session. So in order to still have a session, as long as I still have the other two players, I normally have like an RP session that's very low stakes. So no Silva tonight. We've got no Silva tonight because Silva's pushing for the next expansion in Final Fantasy 14. All right. But yeah, so normally whenever that player is missing, I'll have like a very RP centric, low stakes kind of expositional thing with a lot of RP scenes and some stuff happening in the background, wrapping up a couple loose ends, giving a chance to find some more information, and setting up stuff for the next leg of the adventure. And it's interesting because, like, the fact that that player can't make it for some weeks out of the month could have been a death sentence to the campaign. But because we've worked through it and we've worked around it, one of my players told me that in 2 weeks this Lancer campaign will have been running for a full year, and that is huge. I haven't run a campaign this long. Let me close Facebook so I can focus on what I'm talking about. I haven't run a campaign this long since years ago, when my life was much more functional, when I used to run a Mutants and Masterminds campaign that was an in-person game before COVID. And that ran for like, I think that ran for like a couple years. It felt like, at least. And that was this fun experience. Like, we got to delve deep into these characters and experience this whole thing and this character growth together. And I think it was a thing where, like, that campaign went so well because I had players showing up. I got to be creative, and the players were willing to humor me and all of my silly ideas as I pulled stuff shamelessly from every single fictional property that I was familiar with, even if I was only tangentially aware of the thing, even if I'd never played the thing. I just pulled different media and ideas in order to create plot and story beats. It was this silly thing. So Mutants and Masterminds is a superhero game, right? With a kind of point buy system where you buy your powers and your features with points, and the stronger features cost more points, and you can make features stronger by adding things that cost more, make them weaker, that make them cost less by giving them limitations and all that stuff, right? It was my first experience with something like that, and it was like my saving grace when I was burnt out of 5th edition. And I had this idea, and it was a really silly superhero game. So, like, if I was to run it today, I'd probably run some version of it using like masks or something. I'd probably use either masks or Worlds in Peril if I was to try to doing it again. And it was this thing where the entire plot, I don't even know where all my notes are for that game. We'll talk more about it later. Or maybe we won't. I don't know. We'll see what we get. We'll see what we get up to tonight. The entire plot was that there was this academy between dimensions in a floating island that existed between all of the different dimensions and realities, and that every fictional story we knew of was somehow connected to this space between dimensions. And uh in this space between dimensions, there was this academy that took people who had the potential to be heroes and trained them. And the teachers were all of these different characters from all these other fictional properties that would challenge them and push them in order to get them to grow and develop as heroes, and to teach them heroic qualities and get them uh, to become ready to face the challenges that were set before them. And I went hard on that campaign. We were like 3 sessions in, and the players made a decision, and I ran with it. And I was like, I was kind of brutal and merciless, where I took the player's decision to this like this extreme that when I don't even remember all of what happened. I think it was a thing where like there was an attack, and I think it was that the players couldn't defeat a certain threat or something, and Yugimoto from Yu-Gi-Oh! Summoned the Egyptian gods in order to stop a threat, but he didn't have the pharaoh. He didn't have his Millennium puzzle. So that item for how I built that character was what he needed to control the Egyptian gods, and then he lost control of them. And then as they were fighting this threat and they rampaged, it destroyed the school or something. Oh my gosh, it was years ago. And that caused them to have to move into they were on the run for a while with the survivors of the school, and then they ended up gosh, just to show you how bizarre this was, I pulled from every fictional thing. And you do that as a game master. You pull from every fictional thing that you've got going on, every fictional thing that you've experienced. And they ended up in the Photoshop that was kind of the home base of Kamen Rider Decade. And that was moving between dimensions, between worlds, and they were meeting, and I was just having fun every time they went on an adventure. They would be fighting, and the combat was iffy, but like we made it work. And it was one of those things where I had a bunch of fun with my friends, and me being me, I translated that as having a bunch of fun with the system. So I went all in on loving the system, and then that years later made it hard for me to hear criticisms of Mutants and Masterminds, because anytime I thought about Mutants and Masterminds, I remembered how much fun I had with the system in that game with my friends. Something that I haven't been able to duplicate in future things. And like someone even commented that like the Mutants and Masterminds was like a huge boon to my career, because I got selected to run a game for, I think it was the Shadowcasters Network, and that's how I met Opti and a bunch of other people who are still really important to me and very close friends. And it was my first time doing something like that, running a game on stream. And someone even commented that like we had like a 5-episode season and didn't get into combat until the final episode, and that was because just what I was working with was storytelling, and I was dealing with trying to teach Shadowrun players how to make Mutants and Masterminds characters is complex and complicated. There was some friction, there was some difficulty. Also, that game on the Shadowcasters network, I was running a sci-fi space game, and one of the players is an actual like scientific researcher, and I was like, oh. And he was playing this actual like I think he was playing like a mad scientist, and it was like, oh my goodness. But like, he was a good sport about it. He helped me out with a lot of stuff. And that was a really big deal for me, because like that really was what introduced me to an entire new community that completely changed my worldview. It was thanks to that I got connected to the community that I was in which I met my partner. And that community ended up kind of falling apart, but like I still made some very close and good friends. And I admit that like some of my own short-sightedness and my own personal flaws contributed to a lot of things falling apart. But we're not here to talk about all of that stuff. At least not right now. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. What? Someone wow. I was just checking on Twitter to see what's there, and someone made and released an adjustable iPhone stand with a built-in cooling system on the back of the phone for using as your VTuber phone, your VTuber camera, so that way your phone doesn't overheat while you're doing stuff, so you can use an older iPhone. That's so funny. I almost bought an iPhone. When I was picking up a new phone, I was like, well, I'm really getting into this VTuber stuff. Maybe I get an iPhone, but I'm like, I don't have a model that's optimized for iPhone. So I'm like, that would be a waste, and I'm not delving into that right now. And I'm very glad that I made that decision. I'm very happy with my phone. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm back. It was hot, so I had to take off my shirt so that way I don't sweat and get all stinky. Stinky. Okay. So yeah, let's talk let's talk a little bit about my journey. I've talked a little bit about my journey. I've talked a little bit about like what I've done and how I started. It's always nice to refresh it and to talk a little bit more about it, about my experiences. And I really should have advertised more for this and like done more prep work, but I'm an absolute mess. So that's just is what it is. It is what it is. Um, I was talking to Okusen last night because Okusen's one of the players in my Lancer game. Well, last night / this morning. And there's a possibility that we're gonna do a delayed celebration stream on the 28th. Like a collab with Okusen and one of my other players. And Okusen said that they might run me through a one-shot or something. And I'm like, that could be fun. Do like an RPG stream. And I'm like, that could be very fun. Nothing's set in stone because by the time we were talking about it, it was like 6 in the morning and Okusen had to get to sleep. And I'm pretty sure by now Okusen's at work, being a productive member of society. So, I guess we'll start with some of the before stuff. It's about 9 o'clock. So we'll start with like how I came into content creation in the first place, which is longer than 5 years ago. And how that led to me starting this YouTube channel and my Twitch channel, which I don't use anymore. And all of that stuff. Well, we'll get started with all that jazz. So I played trading card games. I was really active in trading card games. And I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time. I was really active. I thought I was the hot stuff, right? I was really active. I loved going to Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. And it was this funny thing where I could beat, this is gonna sound so bad, I could beat people who were bad at the game or who had inefficient decks. I was always on this weird line where like I could beat people who didn't know what they were doing, but like I had like, I was middle of the road skill, but like top of the road confidence. Because as soon as I got to like regionals and I never made it to Nats, but every time I went to regionals or YCSs or anything like that, I would always scrub out. Like I would win the first like 1 to 2 rounds, then I'd lose 3 rounds, then I'd just play the rest of the time just because I wanted to keep playing the game. And I'd start getting buys because my opponents had already dropped because we were X and 3 or X and 2. And that was just how I did at Yu-Gi-Oh. With Yu-Gi-Oh, it's funny. When I first got into like a Yu-Gi-Oh as an adult, I was playing Geminis based on the Gemini structure deck first. That was what I did first with Phoenix Gearfried. I had a Gemini deck that I used, and people thought it was really cool because normally you use Geminis in other decks, but seeing a deck of just Gemini monsters doing Gemini things, people thought it was really cool. And I got into arguments about whether it's supposed to be pronounced supervis or supervise, which was really silly, but I was young and stupid. Then I got into Morphtronics. I didn't really watch 5Ds. I watched clips of 5Ds. I liked the idea of 5Ds. I liked the idea of Leo, the idea of the Signer Dragons, but I never really had the attention span or the motivation to actually sit down and watch the whole show through. I watched clips, I watched scenes, but I didn't watch whole episodes, right? And I liked the idea of Leo being this one who was the littlest signer who became the heart. So I played Morphtronics. I loved whenever it was announced that I loved that scene when it was released that of Power Tool Dragon becoming Livestream Dragon. And then the Machina structure deck came out. Bought 3 of those. I got them on credit from my friend Hinderasu. And He's a game owner. He was running the card shop in my community, and that just completely kick-started my gaming abilities. Not the gaming abilities, my gaming potential, because I had an actual good deck for the first time. I had an actual like good deck that I could actually play with and do stuff with. Um, and yeah, I did Machina Gadget for a long time. I realize this has nothing to do with my streaming career, but I'm just on a tangent right now, so just hang on, people. We're going for a ride. And I played Machina Gadget for like 10 years. Because that was my jam. That was my jam. That was what I played. I remember Silva got really sick of it. It was like, all you ever do is discard, special summon, discard, special summon. Do something different. I'm like, I'm doing it because it works. But I would always have trouble and struggle against some of Silva's synchrogasm decks, as they call them. But after a while of playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I dropped Yu-Gi-Oh for a while after I moved, and then I got back into it. I was really proactive in the Yu-Gi-Oh game. I was just constantly updating my Machina Gadget deck, and I was just really active in Yu-Gi-Oh. I built a couple other side fun decks, but my main deck was always Machina Gadget. I remember always looking up the MCOL 40 deck lists, because I kind of like, he was a really popular Machina Gadget player, so I was like, his deck list must be really good. And I don't know anything about him as a person. I just really loved his deck list videos for Machina Gadget. Then I got burnt out. Like, it was expensive. Constantly spending money on synchros and exes and all that stuff was just expensive. And I got this whole feeling where I was just like, I'm done with constantly pouring out money and then realizing every time I go to an upper level tournament, every time I go to a tournament that's more than, like, I would do great at locals, right? I would wreck at locals. Then I would go to an actual like tournament that mattered, and I would dumpster fire. Like, I would make misplays. I would get bad matchups. So I started playing Vanguard. I remember being so excited about the mechanics of Vanguard and learning a new game. It was so revolutionary to me. I remember I thought when I was first reading the rules of Vanguard and I learned how Twin Drive worked, and I was like, yo, this adds 2 cards to your hand. I thought that was a card special ability. I didn't realize Twin Drive was just a thing grade 3s had. So I was looking at this one Angel Feather deck that had this big flying mech that was like the Flying Hospitals Metatron or something like that. And I wanted to play Angel Feather because I wanted to play the giant mech, because I like giant robots. Then I got further involved in Vanguard, and I made friends. I made friends with some people who were like doing Vanguard stuff on the Yu-Gi-Oh nights, and I saw them and I was like, hey, you're doing Vanguard stuff. And we became friends. I learned more about Vanguard as I got invested in the game. I played Nova Grapplers at first, actually, because D-Robos wasn't out yet in English. So I played Golden Rutile, Rush, and over time that friendship, that group of friends I built turned into a team. We would train together, we'd practice together for tournaments, and we would compete together in team tournaments. We started like yearly making the trip to drive up to New York for the national event. And that became a big part of it. And somewhere in the middle, 2 of the people in the group started making vines about Vanguard. And those vines started getting really popular, and I started trying to help. And whenever I tried to help make one vine, and it was just really bad. It was so bad. It wasn't popular. It was just terrible. It was poorly thought out. It was problematic, and I just was not. I did not have a head for Vine. And um, it it helped, but it did give me a taste of content creation. Um, my group, we called ourselves Team Horizon because when we would meet up at my friend's house, we'd always watch the new episodes of Log Horizon. So we loved Log Horizon, so we became Team Horizon. And started making deck profiles, tournament reports, and doing all this kind of stuff. I won't go into like who I was or what I went by back then. Eventually, as I started getting a little bit like I was heavily invested monetarily. Like I put a lot of money into Vanguard. I was doing case splits. I was doing all kinds of stuff that I really shouldn't have been doing. There were so many other things I could have been doing. Like I could have been playing a lot smarter with how I was interacting with Vanguard. I could have paid off a lot of debts and dealt with a lot of things. But then Buddy Fight came out, and I got into Buddy Fight, and then I got into Hero World. Well, first I played Dragon Knights, which are these Dragon World deck based on historical figures that I got kind of known for. People liked me. I made friends in the Buddy Fight community. So I eventually got into Hero World, and I made a name for myself in my local Buddy Fight community for Hero World. And we started this an offshoot of Team Horizon that was the Buddy Fight News Corner, doing deck lists, tournament reports, and other Buddy Fight YouTube videos. And I got really into that. Not as into it as I was with the Vanguard stuff. But I just put on this interesting persona. I'll never forget, there was one time, because I had this super energetic, highly motivated, very outgoing type A persona that I put on for recording those videos. And I remember I was hanging out with one of my friends one time, and I was like, hey, you know a lot of stuff about Buddy Fight. Do you want to be in a YouTube video with us to talk about that stuff? He was like, yeah, sure. So I put the camera, and he was just drinking it. We were in my friend's kitchen. He was like drinking a cup of water as they're like 3, 2, 1, and then I just threw on the persona. My voice got more like energetic. Hello? All right, let's see if this works. Let's see if this is back. Okay. There we go. Back to it. We're gonna have to we're just gonna have to power through this and see where it goes. I guess it's just not gonna be the best stream tonight. And that's okay, because we don't have a whole lot of people coming through. So my regulars are busy helping Hattie with some Final Fantasy. So yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully everybody's still back. Anyway, so I was kind of lost for a while, and for a long time I wanted to be a streamer. I wanted to be a content creator. I wanted to make content like I had with Team Horizon and Buddy Fight News Corner. I wanted to do that stuff. I wanted to put positivity out in the world. I wanted to be someone who inspired and motivated and helped other people. I wanted to put some good and positivity out in the world. But I didn't know I could do it. Like I kept saying, whenever I get a new computer, I'll start streaming. And I was really into League of Legends at the time. That was the big thing I was playing. I was hardcore into League of Legends, and like, but I was bronze. I was like bronze 3 or something. And I just was like, there's no way anyone's gonna watch me play. And then lo and behold, OBS. Okay. All right. We're just gonna have spotty stuff tonight. I've already restarted my laptop. There's not anything else I can do here. Okay. I have turned down the quality settings, so this might be a little bit fuzzy. It might look a little bit bad. But I should have ultra low latency, which I should have had turned on already. I don't know why I didn't have that turned on. Oh no, it's still giving me problems. I was good for like a half a second. There's not really anything else I can do with it. Oh, okay. It looks like it's stabilizing. Okay. I guess turning down that quality did make a difference. I don't know if it's going to make my video quality crud, but at least it's playing. Anyway, so I learned a lot with my brother about how to play League of Legends. I remember I would take, because I didn't have internet where I was living, I would take my laptop over to my brother's house, and I would use his internet, and we would play League of Legends with like duoing. He played top lane. Sometimes he'd go bot lane in order to help me out. And we played League, and that was where I started as doing League of Legends. My first. Thank you, Tab. Tabonius CN Lone. Welcome to the stream. So when I first started streaming, I streamed League of Legends, which is a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena, or massive online battle arena. I always forget what the M stands for. And that was really important to me. And that's how I used to stream on Twitch. I streamed on Twitch, and then sometimes I put VODs on YouTube. So I started a little bit more than 5 years ago on Twitch. It was like a couple weeks head start. And I used to do this really cringy and silly thing where I would have my Twitch link copied onto my clipboard, and then every time I went into a lobby for playing League, I would say, hey, if you want to check out my stream, check it out here, and then I would paste it in the lobby real quick, right? When we were on character select, and then I would do that on the end game chat as well, and that's how I got some of my earliest viewers. And it was really silly, but that was what I did, and that's how I got some of my earliest viewers, were people who found me because of playing against me or playing alongside me. And the thing with being bronze 3 and advertising to other bronze players was, I had a lot of players who enjoyed watching me because they don't see a lot of support players, and they were fine with the fact that like I wasn't super good. I had some really good games. I had one of my viewers who joined because I had a really great game and he was impressed with my gameplay. And I don't know if that was a fluke or what that was. That was when I was playing Shen, and I was able to pull off these really great moves and have so much great map control. It was one of my better games. So yeah, I played League of Legends when I started. That was my main game. But slowly over time, I noticed that the competitive nature of League of Legends was starting to get to me. I wasn't maintaining the positive outlook I wanted to. I wasn't putting out the positivity I wanted to because I was getting frustrated. I was getting angry. And it came to a head one time when one of my viewers DM'd me and was like, hey, we watched the stream to see you smile, and it's not worth it if you're not smiling. If you're not having fun. Because I was just getting really frustrated. I was getting really salty on stream, and it was just not a good time. So I was like, you know what? You're right. So I started expanding to other things. looking for other things to do besides League of Legends. And I found a bunch of really cool stuff to do as I was expanding my horizons and learning about other things. And the main thing that really stuck for a long time was Minecraft. Let me get image. Yeah, I'm doing this in lieu of having an actual PowerPoint. I'm just literally grabbing images and throwing them in a line on my just chatting screen. And Minecraft was huge for me. I think it was my partner or one of my friends bought me Minecraft Java Edition so I could play on the server with them, right? And Minecraft was huge for me. I took a hiatus from streaming for a little while and came back and was just doing Minecraft. Did the odd League of Legends stream every now and again, but I was mostly doing Minecraft. That was I had never played a game like Minecraft before. It was like Legos but better. And the thing with Java Edition is you can get free mods to change the game however you see fit. And I delved deep. I got hyper fixated on Minecraft and all the mods and on the game design, and it took that part of my brain that I used for coming up with worlds and world building and designing games for RPGs, and I was like, how can I craft that in Minecraft? What combination of mods can I put together to create the gaming experience I wanted? And I ran a server for a while, a modded server for I think it was about a year. Had like 3 versions of the server. And I was the most active person on the server. I was on there a lot. And hey, Superhero 60. I'm just talking about my streaming career, my content creation, and going over some of my history. And thank you, Superhero 60. But yeah, so I went through a period of about a year or two where I was just completely consumed and obsessed with Minecraft. And hey, Naberu, good to see you. But yeah, so I did a lot of Minecraft stuff. And in the middle of all of that, grab. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Of course that's huge. Of course it's huge. Of course it's freaking huge. Also, how's the video quality? I like turned down some of the stuff so that way it should have a lot less latency, and I was having a lot of trouble with the stream like stuttering and freezing. So it should be a little bit better. Just let me know if the video quality is really poopy. Okay, thank you, Nabiru. So mutants and masterminds. I talked a little bit about this earlier. At the time, I was really heavily invested in mutants and masterminds. Not like I had stocks, but like I really cared about the game. And I I played it a lot. I bought books. I think I own somewhere in storage most of the rule books of Mutants and Masterminds. Um, and it was revolutionary to me when I got burnt out of D&D 5th edition, because I was running so much 5th edition. I just got burnt out of the mechanics, and I wanted something different. And Mutants and Masterminds gave that to me. And I ran a campaign for that went for like 2 years. It was like a 2-part campaign where like there was the one campaign that went for like a year and a half. Then we had another one that went for like 6 to 8 months. That took place in the same universe years later, and some of the past characters came back as NPCs, and it like wrapped up this huge story arc. And it was huge. It was exciting. I had a bunch of fun, and I think it was one of those things where like I was having so much fun with the system, with my friends, with shamelessly ripping off every fictional world I'd ever seen with a good excuse, because the entire premise of the game was that all of the fictional worlds were connected, and that the characters were being trained by the heroes of all of these different superhero stories and media, and different heroes from different timelines and realities, and facing these challenges that threatened all of existence. And that lent itself to a very interesting campaign. But I think one of the things that happened was I got so heavily invested in the game, I had so much fun, that like, you know, whenever you really like something and you get to the point when you are having so much fun that like you don't see any of the downsides to it, you don't see any of the things that are wrong with it. That was kind of where I was with the Mutants and Masterminds. Now, I am not saying it's a bad system, but I'm saying it's not perfect. Just like anything else, it has its limitations. It has its strengths, it has its weaknesses. And it was very frustrating for me whenever I was trying to play Mutants and Masterminds in another community, and someone wanted to talk about some of their frustrations with the game, and I just wasn't hearing any of it. I was taking it very personally, which I really didn't need to. The reason why I bring this up tonight is because somewhere in the middle of all of this stuff with the Minecraft, with the League of Legends, and all of that, I saw an ad on Facebook. Well, it wasn't an ad, it was a post someone made in a superhero not Discord, in a superhero Facebook group that said, hey, Shadowcasters Network, a long-running Shadowrun podcast thing, was looking to do a short series, a group of short series in Mutants and Masterminds, and looking for experienced GMs to run games on stream. And I was like, well, I'm an experienced GM. By that point, I'd been running the game for about a year, at least. Well, I'd been running the game at that point. My current game had been running for like 8 months, but I had like other smaller games that happened beforehand. So I had about a year experience with the game. And the thing with Mutants and Masterminds is it gets so intricate that like a year experience with the game and you're still learning new things. So, and that's not a bad thing. That's just part of it. So I ran, it was called the Cosmic Corsairs. It was a game of these space adventurers going on these highfalutin things, and it's really funny because it was supposed to be a 2-season story. We were greenlit for 2 seasons, going to have 1 season finale, crossover episode between all of the different. There was this big thing with these interconnected stories that were having different guest GMs run games, and then we were going to have a 2nd season. It was all planned out. I was greenlit. I was excited, right? I was like, is this going to kick off my career as like a content creator? Am I going to become a Mutants and Masterminds content creator? Because I'd started making Mutants and Masterminds content by that time, right? And then we never got past the 1st season. We never got to the crossover episode. We never got to the the second season, but but after getting that taste of running a game for other people on stream, having viewers come in and react, and having live viewers, like the showman in me was just like eating it up, right? My producer came to me and was like, yeah, you did a great job with that game. You know, I had someone come into uh come into my DMs and say, hey, you've got someone really special here, you should really do something with him or whatever, right? And then I never really did anything with that. I don't know what's up with the Shadowcasters Network. I know that some of the people involved had a lot of personal stuff happen, and then COVID happened, and a lot of stuff went online, and just a lot of stuff happened. My life was in shambles at the time, and it was just crazy. I tried doing more Mutants Masterminds content. It was actually one of my favorite streams. What I used to do, because I loved how Roll20's Mutants and Masterminds character sheet worked, where it was very free form. It was easy to put lots of things, easy to put combined powers, and it kept track of your power points really easily. It was really handy. So what I would like to do sometimes, where I would build characters on stream like I do now, except I was doing it in the Roll20 thing. But what kept happening was Chrome would freeze on OBS. So I had an entire stream where I built characters, and then when I went back and looked at it, the screen was frozen. And this was before I had 2 monitors, so I couldn't have OBS open and Chrome open at the same time to make sure everything was going. And what I didn't know was every time I minimized OBS in order to open Chrome and work on the character sheet, it froze, so nothing was happening on screen. And that's one of the reasons why it's so hard for me to make anything out of my old Mutants and Masterminds content. So like that, but still, that was huge for me. And Mutants and Masterminds was a big part of my content at the time. I was doing Mutants and Mastermind stuff, Minecraft. I ended up kind of, you know, when the hyperfixation passes and you kind of just phase out and move on past Minecraft. And then I was looking for other things. And that brings me to the last couple years, where I kind of not fell out of love as much as like wanted more from my gaming experience than Mutants and Masterminds than I was getting out of Mutants and Masterminds. Like I said, not saying it's a bad game, not saying it's bad design, it just wasn't what I was looking for. Which is really funny because I have most of the rule books, at least a lot, or at least a number of them. And then boop-a-doop-a-doop. When I was looking for things to do, I started doing, and it was around this time that I started doing, with the Mutants and Mastermind stuff, it was around that time, with that and the Minecraft, that I started doing VTubing and got my first avatar. My first avatar was terrible. My first avatar was, I literally took the starting model from Vroid Studio, changed the skin color to dark, and gave it, and it had like multiple different hair settings, and I just turned all the hair settings on, so it just had all of this hair sticking out at odd angles. And it was just so, it was so silly, but I wanted to be a VTuber, and that was because, well, there's another side of it that I haven't really talked about. When I did League of Legends, the thing that got me into League of Legends in the first place was I was at a Vanguard tournament, and I had someone who I barely talked to walk up to me and say, "Hey, do you play League of Legends professionally?" And I was like, "What?" What? No. They're like, come here and take a look at this. And they were playing League on their computer in the back of the shop, in the back of the card shop. And I look, and it was an article on the League of Legends launcher about some pro player who had my face. His face looked almost exactly like mine. It was uncanny. We had the same haircut. We had the same facial hair setup, same facial structure and skin tone. And he was a pro support player. His name was Afromoo. And when I would stream, one of the things that I became known as is the Great Value Afromoo, because Afro was a support player. He was a pro support player. I think he still is. I think he's still pro. I haven't followed him in a while. And I kind of looked up to him, and I wanted to play him one day, which thinking way too big. I did not have the reaction speed or skill for that. And one of the things I struggled with was constantly being compared, well, at least in my head, was being compared to Afromoo, being like called Great Value Afromoo. People would come to my stream and be like, yo, you total, and they would tell their friends to come look at me, and that's how I got views. And someone I was talking to about it once, like, you got to do something, because right now your entire character and following and building that you're building is being related to this pro player, and you have to do something about that. And that was one of the things that got me started on doing VTubing. Having a virtual avatar, virtual YouTubing. And I was still on Twitch at the time. Now, let me get the Twitch logo up. That's the Roll20 logo. I don't think I have the Twitch logo saved. Anyway. So then I started doing that, and at some point, a few years ago, I think it was like 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to run a on-stream Mutants and Masterminds mech game where I was trying to cobble together the mech rules from Mutants and Masterminds to make an entire game of mechs. Not using any of the very simple and effective homebrew options, but just trying to use the official written rules for mechs. Did not go well. Had a lot of trouble, had a lot of complicated stuff. It was way more complicated than it had any right to be. And it was just silly. But what I did get out of it was one of the players in the game was also a streamer, Crispy Synchron, and he made me a VTuber model that was vastly better than the one I had before, which is, let me find this. This VTuber model. Which is, as you can see, very similar to the one I'm using now. I've made some changes to it, but this is the base model that he made me. And I'm very happy with this model, with the start of a model. It looks so much better than what I had before. It is just more detailed. And I got that while I was running that Mutants and Masterminds game, and it was only later that I started to learn about other games and other rule sets. And that game ended up falling apart because we had players who needed days off, we had other schedules, and I was just getting really frustrated with the rules, and it just wasn't what I was looking for in a game. And yeah, this was over a year ago that it happened. I was doing it on Twitch, and then I think I have one stream of it on YouTube. And the thing is, we also did not commission any art, even though I was streaming the game. And so I was letting players use art they'd found on the internet. So it was kind of a no-no, because you don't want to use copyrighted art in a stream in a game that you're streaming. It's fine for home games, but it's not something you're supposed to do on games that you're streaming. Which at the time I didn't super care. I didn't have a lot of viewers. I didn't have anybody really watching my streams or my content back then, and I just thought I could get away with anything. And I also was very very proactive in, oh my gosh, there's a fly flying around my room, flying around the basement, and it's bugging me. Anyway, so that's where I got the VTuber model. That's the basis for the what I have now. And so that was a fun experience, getting that, running that. It was frustrating, but at the end of the day, I wanted to play. I missed, as weird as it sounds, I missed D&D 5e, and I missed being a player. It was exhausting, constantly trying to make the game, and also having players that weren't super into the game. I had players who were like some of my old gaming friends that just weren't super into the game, and I finally decided, I think I did one stream on YouTube, and then I was like, nope, we can't do that. We just can't. It's not getting views, it's not getting anything. So just didn't happen. And I ended up moving from that to playing in a Wednesday night D&D group. And yeah, that was over a year ago. That happened. So there was that. And what else was there? Yeah, exactly, Nabiru. Keep moving forward. What else have we got here? Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Then I started doing around that time when I started streaming on YouTube, I started streaming Final Fantasy X. I streamed all the way. I streamed the entire playthrough of Final Fantasy X. I started doing a playthrough of Final Fantasy X-2. I was not a fan of the combat system in X-2, and I never finished. X-2. Maybe I'll finish it one day. I just was not in love with the combat system. It was just not. I was not a fan. And I also wasn't super a fan of the story. It seemed kind of convoluted, and the fact that you have to play through the game multiple times in order to get the true ending kind of bugged me as a game that I was doing on stream. The costumes are kind of cool, but here's the thing. I didn't super want to like keep changing costumes. I realized that's kind of the point, like, and that's one of the things I didn't like about Final Fantasy X too, was the entire point is to change costumes mid-battle in order to unlock different options and use different strategies, right? But you're on a timer, so you can't think, what do you need, right? And the fact that you were on a timer just kicked off my anxiety. And I would just want to keep using the one thing that I was using, but that limited my options and it limited my capabilities. And I was only like partway through the game, and I'd gotten to the end of the development of the jobs that I was using. And I was like, well, what now, right? And like I said, maybe at some point, I'll go back and finish 10-2 just to finish the story. Oh, really? Did you see me playing 10 or 10-2? I know I had some people who came and were watching me play 10, and some other people were talking about, like, I was like, after I get to the end of 10, do I want to, like, redo things, grind for the extra bosses? And people were like, we want to see you do other games. And I was like, okay. Then I started 10-2, and it was really funny because a bunch of the people, Like it was like two or three people who'd watched me play through 10. 10-2 cause costumes. Okay. It's funny because like 2 or 3 people who had watched me play through 10 and just kind of disappeared, and just, I don't know if they got busy with life or what happened. I don't know. I hope they're okay. I hope they're doing well, but they just weren't around when I started playing 10-2. So that was kind of disheartening. And I think 10-2 was really where I started to grow myself, because that was around the time when I started playing 10. And I was playing my way through 10. So Silva is a friend of mine I know IRL. And I finally got over my own fears and insecurities and anxieties and asked Silva if Silva would watch me stream, because I wanted a viewer, because it was so hard to stream to nobody. Those streams where nobody showed up were just so hard and heartbreaking. Getting to the end of a stream and seeing average viewers 0 after like a 3 or 4 hour stream was just frustrating and heartbreaking, to feel like I'm putting in all of these hours, but then that also made me feel like I was doing something wrong because nobody wanted to show up. And like on Twitch, it would show me how many people actually came through the stream, and I would have like whole streams with maybe 1 view, but an average of 0 people or 0.1 people on Twitch. When I moved to YouTube, I would get average of like 1 or 2 people, but I was getting more views. I was getting like 10, 11 views, which tells me people were actually seeing my content. And it's really sad that like that is a step up, but it was a step up. It was a step forward. And having you, Nabiru, and Silva watching my streams consistently gave me a lot of confidence and helped me with my development as a streamer, and with doing and leaning more into streaming. I tried to do, one of these days I may or may not get back to making videos. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I had a video project I was working on. When I first started playing 10, I was like, let me build a Mutants and Masterminds character based on Yuna. Yeah, the algorithm can be cruel, Nabiru. So I was like, let me build a Final Fantasy character based on Yuna and one based on Valifor. And I got through the Yuna portion, but I never recorded the Valifor portion, so I never released the video. And some of my most popular content is my build videos for Mutants and Masterminds, where I would build different characters and describe why I built them. And that was my content for a little bit, was my Mutants and Masterminds content. When I couldn't stream, I was making videos. Some of my videos were literally just me reading the rulebook or paraphrasing parts of the rulebooks in order to try to explain the rules in an easier to digest fashion. It's actually really funny. But people like it. People still watch those videos. People still watch that content. After that, Armored Core 3. I said when I started playing Armored Core 3, my plan was to play through 3 yeah, that's one of the things I had to be careful of, copyright. So, Armored Core 3, I had this plan that I was going to play through all of the series of 3, Silent Line, Nexus, and then Last Raven. That was my plan. But then I never got past 3. I beat 3, and it was this exciting thing, and it was fun, but I just needed a break from it because it was so intense. And I enjoyed the story. But Armored Core 3 was a big part of my content. That was one of the things, and I leaned into it, and that was when I was around when I finally decided to pull the proverbial trigger and get oh my gosh, where is I'm looking through my old pictures folder. Here we go. My current bodysuit that I have. Yeah, all the Orion. So this bodysuit, actually, let me find a better picture of it. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Do I have a better picture of it? Nope. Oh yeah, I also played Warframe. I forgot. I have some old Warframe screenshots. I used to. What did I do? Anyway, I'm getting distracted, but yeah. So I got that, and it is the bodysuit that I use is a thing I bought off of Booth. I can use it for streams because I bought the full package that included copyright, the right to use it for professional stuff, right? And so that's something that I did, and that was the next stage for me. And then it's funny, I'm stacking all these images in kind of an order. Not Warframe. What have we got? What have we got? What have we got? What was next? Somewhere in the middle of all of this, this is the OpenOffice logo. This is the main writing tool I use for my my novel writing. I started doing writing streams. I tried doing like Twitter streams where I would go on Twitter and say nice things to people to try to put more positivity out there. That didn't super go well because sometimes you'd see some things that were just inappropriate on Twitter. And sometimes I felt like I was being a little bit too heavy-handed, too fake, but I meant everything I was saying, so it wasn't fake. But I was afraid people would think it was because of how like positive I was being. And it just felt kind of weird to be like, here, look, I'm gonna have a whole stream of me showing off how positive I am. And it just felt weird. So I started doing writing streams, and those were a big part of my content. Those still are a big part of my content. There was another thing I forgot to mention. Talking about writing streams, I cannot forget to talk about where is it? Where is it? Where is the RPG Maker logo? There it is. There we go. RPG Maker. I did my RPG Maker streams. Those two things were like the two things I was most doing, and I was very active, and I had all these dreams of making games, and I just got really burnt out on RPG Maker. And maybe I'll go back, maybe I'll try stuff. I just trying to design combat systems was very exhausting for me. I love playing a good combat system, but I don't like designing one. So that was another thing I did for my content, was RPG Maker. Let me resize some of these. Yeah, 5 years. So yeah, that was a thing. That was just a big part of the experience. Was doing the RPG Maker streams. And then I eventually picked up a game that I've been playing. There's one game that I've been playing for like most of my career as Oriansenshi. The Legend of Dragoon. Oh, whoa, why did this flip? I didn't even know you could do that. The Legend of Dragoon. I'll just put that in the middle. I started doing videos of me playing through The Legend of Dragoon. I'm still on the same playthrough. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago was my last Legend of Dragoon stream. Like, I have been playing this entire time. Well, in the background, off and on. So that's just funny. So there's Legend of Dragoon. I can't talk about it without talking about Legend of Dragoon. Then there was Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh, I gotta show you this. So my logo has gone through a few different iterations. Actually, I'll get to logos in a little bit. I'll talk about it now. So before I got the current logo, the circle with the rose drill on it. Thank you, Tibonius. Before I had the logo with the circle with the rose drill on it, I had this. My friend made this. The same person who used to edit a bunch of my videos made this for me. This is like way up here. And I used that for a while. Before I got my current logo done by Allegoric Siren. Allegoric Siren is a great artist on Instagram. I have a link to his Instagram in my description. Who did my current logo, who did the robot, and who did my banner. So there was that logo. That's like way up there. And what was next? Oh my gosh. I found a screenshot of my old VTuber avatar. My first VTuber avatar. It was so bad. I was like in the middle somewhere. Let me. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. How do I turn on chroma key on this? Yeah, I know. I'm trying to turn on the. There we go. Is this what I want? No, that's not what I want. How do I... Oh, filters. There's the button I wanted. Chroma key. There we go. I literally took the first... This is my first VTuber avatar. I took the starting character, put in some custom eyes, turned on all the hair options. That's why there's so much hair kicking out. There were like multiple options for how you wanted to arrange your hair. I just turned them all on, put on a hoodie, and put on a black color scheme. But I was proud of it because I made it myself. Like I said, the base of my current model was made by a friend of mine. So it's some of my journey has been about learning to accept help from other people for things that I just can't really do myself. But also trying to do what I can myself. Okay, now it's getting too squished up. I put this. There we go. Cool. So yeah, that's that. Found that. I have so many images in OBS right now. So yeah, that was that. At some point, maybe I'll try my hand at making another model, or maybe I will commission an actual live 2D model. We'll see. Just gotta see what stuff goes. Like, so many things in my life are waiting for like the disability stuff to come through, or for something to change, something to break, before things change. You know. Then more recently, getting into recent stuff, I have been into some other games. There's what was it? Front Mission 5. And then the other thing that I've been really involved with is some of the other RPGs that I've done, that I've covered and talked about, right? I've done a couple streams talking about masks. That's been really fun. I hope to do more stuff with masks in the future. And I don't have the logo for Prowlers and Paragons. Do I have the book cover? I did like 1 or 2 streams talking about Prowlers and Paragons. But most recently was I did a stream or 2 talking about Worlds in Peril. I think I might run a game in Worlds in Peril. I don't know. I'm enjoying the system. Like, there's some things that I want to change with it, but I knew that coming in, right? Like I talked about it before, Worlds in Peril has a lot of mixed reviews. Let's see, can I make this smaller? Because a lot of people say it needs to be, it needs a lot of homebrew and fixing stuff. And I think I might run it as is for like 1 game or a 1-shot or something before I start working on what I would change with it. I'm not willing to say that like Worlds in Peril will be my new main game. And it's interesting. I made a tweet about it earlier that like I'm in this weird conundrum where I'm well, I don't know if it was a tweet or a comment on a YouTube video where I said I'm in this conundrum where I'm realizing that like my gaming style as a game master lends more towards narrative play and not towards too much tactical combat stuff. Like I enjoy that as a player, but like as a game master, designing challenges for that kind of stuff just isn't super motivating to me. And that's kind of a challenge because like my longest running campaign I have going on right now is in Lancer. And like most of my TTRPG time and energy right now is spent on Lancer. So that's just part of the challenge of figuring out what can I do to make things work the way I want them to and still be like contributing stuff for my players. But trying to think if I have any other images I wanted to share. Let me take a look through my image folder. I'm just pulling out things that I think are relevant to like my experiences. Oh yeah, then I got to talk about let me grab this. Whoop. I did my collab with Hero Girls recently. That was a fun collaboration where we did a writing stuff, and that was exciting. I hope to do more collabs with them in the future. She's really great, and it's really exciting to do collabs with people. I'm hoping to do more collabs in the future. I'm just not entirely sure what all that's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be like, am I going to like play in or run games for other players, for other streamers? I don't know. I don't think, because the thing is, whenever it comes to doing RPGs, TTRPG stuff, especially if it's a collab between other content creators, you generally want it to be something that people are going to want to watch. But like getting a bunch of viewers for something that is not D&D 5th edition can be challenging. But one of the freeing things about doing this for a hobby, like when I first started, I dreamed of doing this as a career one day, right? And there's still part of me that holds out that dream that maybe one day, right? I'll be able to do this as a career, right? But for at this point in my life, it's a hobby. I don't make money doing this. Um, this is a thing I do. Oh, Final Fantasy 14 crossover campaign with D&D 5e rules. Oh geez, I bet Silva would eat that up. Actually, let me look something up. That got me thinking. Hold on. Uh oh, they're already in it? Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't uh no, I don't run in a lot of the same circles, so I'm not entirely surprised that I didn't find out about it, but like we stream at different times. Yeah. Um Oh, okay. That's cool. That's cool for them. The thing is, I'm not. So here's the thing, Tibonius. I have never played Final Fantasy 14. I am not heavily invested in the Final Fantasy world. I've uh I've never played the game. I'm not invested in the world. And like I'll be completely frank and honest with you, Tibonius. I am kind of scared to get invested in Final Fantasy 14. I have watched that game take over Silva's life. Um, like I remember when Silva first started playing, and I have watched that game completely consume their life. Um, and I don't know. 2 years old. I don't know that like I could let myself get consumed into something like that. Like as you can see, I've played a bunch of games. I've done a bunch of stuff. Um, mhm. Something like that, Nabaru. Yeah, Tawonius. Yeah, um it's a thing. Um but yeah, no one's really talked to me about it. I don't know what I would even play because I'm not super invested in Final Fantasy 14. Um like I'm not I'm glad you're having fun, Tibonius. The Lancer campaign is definitely something special. Uh for those of you who don't know, I run a Lancer campaign that Tibonius plays in with other people that uh, is uh, the concept I got was based on Power Rangers, and we've kind of slid away from that as like um, the story has progressed and things have gone their own way. And I think that's okay. Um, and it's part of the adventure. And I think one of the things I'm leaning towards is having more narrative situations and narrative challenges as the story progresses. What is your task, Nabiru? What is your great task that only the most chaotic could pass? Yeah, exactly, Tibonius. The players always write and edit the story of their own. Yeah. And I create the world and the base idea, but the players create the story. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm back. Force players to eat Kit Kat layer by layer. When done, give them back the Ritz and say, "Deskin the." Oh my gosh! The cursed food challenges, Nabiru. The cursed food challenges. So you got me thinking. Um. Um. So yeah, like peeling grapes, exactly, Tibonius. Um. Actually, I'll be sorry to pause again. I'm gonna go run and use the restroom. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. It's funny. My roommate came down to talk to me and check on me and tell me he was about to go take a shower and asked if I needed to use the bathroom. Because that's just common courtesy when you live in a house with 12 people in one bathroom. Um, and uh, as soon as he left, and I said I was fine, I suddenly had to use the bathroom, and it was just really funny how that worked out. Um, you came up with a Warforged doppelganger trait they used to adapt to the world bigotry. I am very intrigued to hear that, Tibonius. Ah, you gonna share a message because it's long? Okay. See, you got me thinking. So there is um so there is this this game system called Powered by the Apocalypse that I really like. I've played Monster of the Week before, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse game, and Masks and Worlds in Peril are both Powered by the Apocalypse games. And I really like the narrative structure with moves and playbooks and all of that stuff involved with the narrative structure of how Powered by the Apocalypse games work. And Tibonius, you got me thinking when you were like a D&D Final Fantasy 14 crossover, and I was like, I wonder, because there's a Powered by the Apocalypse fantasy setting called Dungeon World, that is really popular. And part of me is just like, would I haven't played Dungeon World before, but I was just like, I've heard Dungeon World's a great thing for like if D&D players want to explore a more narrative game structure, because it has some of the same things from D&D, but I've never played it. So that got me thinking, like, if I was gonna run a fantasy game, right? Because I really enjoy PBTA games, Powered by the Apocalypse games. I think I would probably learn Dungeon World because it's much more narrative, and run some hack of Dungeon World that would just feature things from Final Fantasy 14. Just come up with some things. I'm sure someone has to have a hack for it somewhere. But yeah. Oh wow. Dungeon World's only $10. If somebody that owes me money pays me back, I might pick it up. That got me thinking. Like, yeah, I know I could find it somewhere to like find it, but like I do like to pay for things whenever I can. Because that's how you support the community. But yeah, but you got me thinking, Tibonius. I wonder, because like Dungeon World, I know is like a critically acclaimed game, and there's lots of content with it. That would be interesting. Anyway, I got distracted. I get distracted easily, and that's another thing that just kind of comes with my life is I get distracted easily. Or maybe I'll learn, what was that other one? I think it's a PBTA game, like Codex something or other. One of my friends mentioned it. But yeah, so yeah, sorry, back on track. Getting back on track. I'm also very glad that the stream is working better now. Stream was like being kind of poopy in the beginning. So what else? I don't think if there's anything else that so one of the things that's been really defining of my streaming career has been the background music of my streams. Right now we're doing what do I have going right now? I have GameChops going, which does versions of video game sounds. For a long time, I did stream beats. I still do stream beats for some games because I need the processing power. I can't have Chrome open at the same time. So I'll do stream beats. I used some NCS, some non-copyright sounds music for some of my videos. I kept telling myself I was gonna download a bunch and make a playlist in order to have going on loop or like on shuffle whenever I was doing streams and stuff, but I never actually got around to doing that. I got distracted, as I am wont to do. And what else have I used? I used Lo-Fi Girl for a while. I used Lo-Fi Girl for quite a while. I still think I will do that at some point, and I did Medieval Lo-Fi too. Medieval Lo-Fi was very nice, and it was a nice change of pace. I've watched bits and pieces of Yu Yu Hakusho, Nabaru. Why? What you got in mind? Check my meme room. My meme room. Okay, let me open that. Hopefully this doesn't crash OBS. Oh, someone made an unofficial Final Fantasy 14 RPG. That's funny. That's really funny. I just looked it up to see if there was something. But yeah, I'd probably run Dungeon World if I was going to run anything. Let's take a look. All of the cat girl and the aquatic cat girl. Yes. That's silly. Aww. One of my friends, LA Draws, posted a thing on their Discord server advertising my my stream today. That's so nice. Oh, I gotta mention. Who mentioned me? Using a made compendium as a reference guide for Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, it was nice of them. Yes, the human evolutions, Nabiru. But yeah, so I think this is a pretty good representation of like all the stuff I've done as a streamer, as Oriansenshi. Though I will tell you a funny story that is very silly about the origin of my name. So Orion is an intentional misspelling of the constellation Orion the Hunter. Because I wanted to hunt down my dreams, I wanted to hunt down my possibilities, and I wanted to hunt to be a kind of person that hunts down my goals. Not just wanders after my goals, but actually takes proactive steps to hunt down my goals. That was the image I wanted. And I intentionally misspelled it because I wanted to be different. I spelled it with an A. And that's also how I pronounce it, Orion. And Senshi is funny. I mentioned one of my friends earlier that I did a video with, and before I started streaming, who like remarked on how bizarre the change was between who I was and the persona I was putting on for recording videos at the time. And he's a good friend of mine. And there was one point where I was talking to him about some of the struggles that were going on in my life. I wasn't like complaining or asking him to fix them. We were just talking about it. I don't think I was. It was a long time ago. And I just remember he said, "From now on, I'm going to call you Senshi. It means warrior because you are constantly fighting your way through things to accomplish your goals." He said it something like that. And it really resonated with me. It was like people have said, "Oh wow, you work hard" before, but it was the first time someone had gone so far as to say, "I'm going to call you something different to represent how hard you work to survive." And that just resonated so deep within me, and it was this moment that we just had together. And then the other half of the story is he went away on a trip somewhere, and then the next time I saw him, he did not call me Senshi. And when I asked him about it, he had no recollection of that conversation whatsoever. And it was one of those moments where like I had to realize that this thing that was this special and important and precious moment to me was kind of just another thing going on in his life. And that's one of those things where like you learn that things have different importance to different people, and that's okay. It's part of life. We're all different. We have different values. We have different experiences, and that's okay. And it was just a moment. It was just a moment. And yeah, so that's where the Senshi came from. It's gonna sound really nerdy, but for the longest time, I'll just put that there. I tried to get my friends to call me Senshi, which sounds really silly, because I am not Japanese. I have no Japanese relation in my body, and it is a Japanese word, and it never really took off. I was like, "Hey, can you call me this?" And they're like, "No." It wasn't for the longest time. I tried it once, and then people were like, "No," and then it just didn't. It just was like, okay, and it was never a thing afterwards. And as far as Orion, right? taking the name Orion was like, it was different than other names I'd taken before, because like I'd done content creation before I became Orion. And I'd taken other names, but the thing is, all of those names always came with a persona that I was putting on in order to portray a character. And at first, Orion was kind of like that, but very swiftly, Orion became a way for me not to put on a mask, but to take off a mask. It became me being the person I was without all of the expectations and requirements and weight of all of the things that I had dealt with in my life. And like for a long time, it was such a big deal for me having this new name, having a name that I chose myself. I told everyone about it, that like I was planning to change my name. I was planning to legally change my name to Orion. Not Oriansenshi, because I'm not Japanese, but like actually change my name to Orion. And I did some research on it, on what it would take. For where I am, I would have to file a court proceeding directed at the hospital that issued my birth certificate in order to get a name change, because that's what they told me when I called and asked. It would cost, depending on fees and other things, it would cost anywhere between like $150 and like $200. And I was like, "Ooh, okay, I'll save up for it," right? Then COVID happened, and my life kind of fell apart. And it was a thing where like the name was a big deal for me because it was a name I picked for myself. But at some point in the middle, I made peace with my name that I was given at birth. I still prefer among some of my friends, among some of my close friends, I still prefer to go by Orion. And like my partner calls me Orion. That is just me. And I think that's one of the things I really like about this channel and about this whole thing with being a streamer, is the energy that you see, the energy that I bring to streaming right now at this point in my, I guess career is the right term for it, is me. It's not me with it's not me with like a mask on or some kind of like positive spin on myself. It's me being who I want to be. All right. Sorry, this has been bugging me. There we go. That's fine. The old model being above the oldest model being above the other models was bugging me. I know, it's silly. But yeah, so that was part of my growth, was making some kind of peace with my own name. In the future, depending on what happens, like I think the big thing that kind of took that pressure off about trying to legally change my name was realizing that I could just tell people to call me something. I could just tell people, hey, this is my name. This is my nickname. This is what I prefer to go by. And I could just do that. I actually have on my Facebook profile, on my personal Facebook profile, if you look on my profile, it has my name, then it has in parentheses Orion, which is really funny, I think. But it's like, how often do you actually go onto people's Facebook pages? Like, it feels like way back in the day when Facebook was newer, you used to go to people's Facebook pages a lot more often. Now you just look at what they post. Like, and you look at stuff on your algorithmically designed timeline, not to be like, "Oh, old man." Ah. Okay. All right. Oh, someone made a hack of Dungeon World. Wonder what that does. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Oh. Ba ba da ba da. Yeah, I'm getting distracted. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because I started thinking about Dungeon World. And what I would do with it because like I've heard so many good things for Dungeon World. Is Dungeon World good for beginners? Oh, okay. There's the SRD. Oh, it must be Creative Commons. Okay. Cool, there's an SRD online. I could just learn Dungeon World. I might not. I mean, I might buy it if I actually like it. So yeah, I got distracted because I've been on this PBTA kick. Um, after picking up masks and remembering how much I loved Monster of the Week, I think I might pick Monster of the Week back up and might do that. Monster of the Week is this interesting game that's designed to be every session is supposed to be you finding and hunting down a new monster, solving a mystery, and figuring out how to defeat the monster. Some things will stretch into 2 sessions, maybe 3, but ideally it's supposed to be short, interconnected one-shots that are hunting different monsters. And I think that's a very interesting framework. The idea of having an entire monster hunt that is going to start and finish within 1 3 to 4 hour session. I think is a very interesting way to design a game. And the mechanics of I think you put that in the wrong chat, Tibonius. Gnomes have been attacking a newly constructed village dam above the village. They claim the dam has caused their underground homes to flood. If the dam is broken down, the town will be hit by tidal. Oh, it's fine, Tibonius. Ah. But yeah, who knows what comes in the future? Like in the future, I would like to run an RPG game again. I would like to run RPG streams again, not just building characters, but actually running games or playing in games. Yeah, they Monster of the Week is really cool, and Dungeon World sounds really cool. I just found the SRD, the system reference document that has all the rules, that are Creative Commons up on online. So I'll probably poke around that and see if there's anything cool, and if it's as cool as I've heard, then it just becomes making time to actually run a game. Let me click on this. Since I have this open, I want to see these classes. Let's see, Paladin. I know Paladin. Let's see what the Paladin looks like. Oh, it has HP. That's interesting. So it does use D&D similar moves. Okay. Ah. Okay. And it has HP. Okay. And it uses other die. Okay. Let me... Boop a doop a doop doop doop. I'm getting distracted, but as Nabaru said, distractions are still content. All right. So yeah, that's my journey, kind of in a nutshell, as I've kind of clambered my way here up until like, oh, it's weird seeing the last 5 years of my life kind of compressed into one list of 17 images. Like there was a lot of stuff there. There was a lot of stuff that happened. It's been a lot of streams. Like I think when I was trying to do content creating videos, it was very stressful for me creating videos. I used to when I started making videos, I used to make them using Windows Movie Maker. And some of the videos I made in Windows Movie Maker still get views to this day, which is funny. I downloaded better video making softwares, but they were always more complicated, and it was always more stressful using them than Windows Movie Maker. Part of me wonders if I could just download some version of Windows Movie Maker again and use that, if I could get back to making videos, because it would be much simpler. And I wouldn't have all these menus and things to go through. If I would actually get back to doing videos again, because it would just be easier. Or if I just need to find an easy and simple, very user-friendly video editing software, I could maybe do videos again. But I have to figure out what I want to do videos again. like in the ideal thing, it would be as a streamer, I do streams and then I make videos of like highlights from the stream. But my streams aren't like super high energy. They're very comfy things of me writing things. So there's not a whole lot of stuff to do. Like my character building streams though, I could make a video of just explaining the character abilities. I guess that could work. That was something I wanted to do for a while. Now I want to look it up. Now I'm curious. Huh. Yeah, I think, oh, none of these look like any of the things I saw. I just looked up things, and apparently the number one thing is video power director. Oh. Maybe I'll pick that up. Maybe I'll pick that up. We'll see. But yeah, this has been fun. I also realized that like my gaming lends towards some very odd preferences. Like my long-running Lancer game, right? It is a Lancer game, right? So it is set in the standard Lancer setting with my own twists on it. This is the long-running one I do on Sundays. Actually features a lot of dragons, and a lot of the storyline has evolved to be around this conflict of dragons. And I have them as essentially these cosmic entities that can warp reality. And it's just been very interesting to see how the party interacts with this, and my players are so great. My players just always humor my silly ideas. Like in last night's game, I introduced a new plot device, a new plot that I pulled straight from Skyrim, and I've never played Skyrim. I just Googled it and thought it sounded cool. And my players humored me and were like, and one of my players was like, okay, this is the lore of Skyrim, and give me a quick rundown of Skyrim so I could just improv what I needed to, because they were asking questions I wasn't prepared for, because I thought they would take the thing and go with it. I didn't expect them to investigate it as deeply as they did, and I wasn't ready for it. But that's the thing with players, like you said, Tibonius. Players write their own story, they create their own experiences, and they create the game world around them. Like I create the world, but I may create the world, but the players are the ones who fill it with laughter and life and love and craziness and tension and everything. I saw one person describe it as a situation of, as a game master, you need to create problems and let your players create solutions. And because the players literally have more brains than you, because you have one brain and they have 3 to 4 brains. So just create the problems. Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. They may have more brains, but do they work? Good question, Nabiru. Good question. Very good question. They do sometimes have to rub their brain cells together to get one single thought, one singular thought, Nabiru. Mm-hmm. Most definitely Tibonius. See what this looks like. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to go back and rewatch this stream, just to see if the quality actually changed after I turned down my settings. Because I turned down some of my settings in order to make the stream actually run, and it's been running smooth since, which is good. Oh, really? Did you introduce dragons in your Cyberpunk RPG, Tibonius? Oh, Cyberpunk corporations are run by dragons. Okay. Interesting, interesting. That's interesting, because then that makes the corporation essentially their horde. Ooh, that's exciting. Modern day dragons. That reminds me of my modern day drone. Speaking of which, let me check my messenger and see what that doppelganger thing you sent me was. Ooh, so that's a feat. That's interesting. I like the idea of racial feats. They tested them, but I don't think they ever made it into the official release, did they? I remember they were testing a whole slew of racial feats for they were in the playtest in the Unearthed Arcana. But I don't remember if they actually made it to official release in 5th edition. That reminds me. Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay. Ooh, combat. Having something to do as a reaction is always fun. Did they come out in Xanathars? Ooh, have to seek out the right people. Just like the maybe like the guard captain in in Ormer that we have to talk to in order to get him to try to get him to start teaching that dwarf more combat activities. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that Terminator feat sounds really fun. I'm not sure if I take it because I have the Mask of Disguise, so I don't super need it. But it could be interesting to have as an alternative in case I ever get caught without like not having the mask. Um, like what happened with the puzzle quest. Oh, oh my goodness! It's already 11:22. Wow, time has flown by. All right. Well, this has been an adventure. It started really rough, but thank you to all of you for coming to tonight's stream. Let's clean up this knives and stabbing weapons. Oh, that was a Warforged feat before. That reminds me. What was Eberron racial feats? D&D tools. Okay. Oh, these are 3.5 things. Yeah, these are 3.5 things. Ah, that's a shame. Huh. Someone made someone made their own version of racial feats for Eberron things. That's funny. I got distracted again. So now let's clean this up. Oh my gosh. I think as much as I may enjoy other games, Mutants and Masterminds, as much as it might frustrate me sometimes, will always hold a special place in my heart because that was the game that like opened my entire like social circle to new people that have been a huge boon to my life. And I think that's really neat. I hope to develop those kind of connections and expand to other communities using other games as well. And I hope for other good times and fun experiences. So it's been 5 years of being Oriansenshi, and I have no plans of stopping. I intend to keep streaming, keep making content of some way, shape, or form. It is one of my favorite hobbies, and it is something that I have a great deal of fun with. Maybe I'll do Dungeon World builds if I pick up Dungeon Worlds or something. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. Yeah. That was the stream. Let's wind down for the night. Like I said, I talked to Okusen about possibly doing a special stream that might be like Okusen might run me through a one shot with like maybe one other player or something. Might be doing something with Worlds in Peril or Prowlers and Paragons. We'll see what happens. Got to see what's going on with Okusen's life. They've got a lot of stuff going on. And we just talked, and it's funny, we just talked about it last night when it was in the middle of the night and they were super tired. So I would not be surprised if I talked to them again and they're just like, I said, what? But who knows? Maybe I'll do something special. Maybe I'll actually choose a new outfit for my character. Get some new threads to wear over my cyber suit. Anyway, to Tibonius, Superhero 60, Duels Takunaberu, to anyone else who watched the stream and didn't say anything and stayed in the background, to everyone who watches this VOD afterwards, I want to say I love all of you. I believe in each and every one of you. I think that each one of you is special, precious, important, and unique in your own way. For the last 5 years, it has been an honor to entertain you, to produce content for you, and to be a part of your lives, as you have all been a part of mine. I think each one of you makes this world a better place by being in it, and I'm grateful every day to live in a world with you in it. Thank you for continuing to give me your time, your energy, and your attention. I value each and every one of you. With that said, I do ask that you like the stream. It helps the algorithm with pushing it out to other people. If you have any friends, family, nemesis, enemies, fated foes, soulmates, what have you, that you think might enjoy my content, feel free to invite them to the next stream or show them my content. Next stream right now is planned to be Friday, 8:30 p.m. EST. I post updates on Twitter and on Discord, and also I have a Facebook page that I post updates on. It's been an honor to continue to entertain you, and I'm grateful for all of you. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing on YouTube, you can subscribe and ding the notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live, when I release any new content. Also, even if you are subscribed, check to make sure you're still subscribed. Sometimes YouTube will randomly unsubscribe people. With that said, blah 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 blah. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing outside of YouTube, you can follow me on Twitter or join my Discord. Links to both of those are in the description down below. Please remember, you are not required to pay to be here. You are not required. You are never expected to pay to be welcome here. Just your time, your attention, your energy are payment enough. But I do want to say thank you to all of the people who have donated in the past to help me out, and I appreciate each and every one of you. All of you are great, wonderful people. I appreciate every bit that you have shared with me over the years. Thank you all for being a member of this community. Thank you for being here, and always remember the Star Hunter motto: shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always stop to enjoy the memes. Oh, quick story. Hold on. Okay, so that what is it? What was her name? Oh my gosh. Hold on, let me go. Babada, no. Was it? Okay. Anyway, there was this no, it wasn't. Okay, no, so it wasn't Get Jinxed. What was the song? What was the Okay. Babada. Okay, 1 second. Sorry, I got distracted. Nikki Taylor. Okay. So Nikki Taylor was this streamer. Well, she is the streamer. I haven't watched her in a long time. I don't know if she's still active, but she had this thing that every time someone subscribed to her, she would say this cool phrase to welcome them to be a member of her subscribers, right? And I used to watch her a lot because I was really into League of Legends. And so when I was first starting out, I was like, I gotta have something like that. So then I came up with that of shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always stop to enjoy the memes. And I came up with that as that was my thing that I said when people would subscribe or would follow and all that stuff, right? And when I was a face cam streamer, since it was all about being a hunter, Orian the hunter, I would do like a draw, I would do like a motion on camera, like I was drawing back a bow, like always shoot for the stars. And that's one of the things that I do miss being able to do with a VTuber. If I could get my avatar to actually do like some kind of an animation whenever I say that, that would be really cool. But that's just not really an option, and I think that's okay. I think the trade-off of being able to have my own identity, of not being able to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to say that that's where I got that from. I based it on Nikki Taylor's old intro that she used to say whenever she got new subscribers and stuff. That's where I got that from. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here for these last 5 years. Here's to even more as we march forward into the future.